clear. Go.
Welcome back to another Cyberpunk 2077 lore discussion, this time focusing on what I consider to be the top 10 Netrunners from Cyberpunk 2020. If you feel like embracing the net in Cyberpunk 2077, take some inspiration from the best hackers in the business. Alt Cunningham, also known as Alteria Cunningham or Gear, was introduced to the narrative alongside her fiancé, Johnny Silverhand, in the scenario Never Fade Away. Alt was a super wizard class netrunner and the creator of the Black Ice program Soul Killer. The original Soul Killer started as a matrix to contain artificial personalities, but Alt managed to evolve it to contain living engrams. In other words, a person's ghost. Alt discovered that she could transfer the ghost from a computer to a physical body and back again, essentially a version of immortality. Soul Killer evolved to become an anti-netrunner program that uses an advanced matrix recorder to copy the entire personality of an intruder, storing it in a huge database. It then wipes the original personality away, leaving a mindless husk that eventually dies. Arasaka wanted to develop Soul Killer as a weapon and so kidnapped Alt to force her to finish their version. During the Never Fade Away scenario, Johnny Silverhand and his friends are breaking into the Arasaka Tower while the Soul Killer is used on Alt. However, Alt created a back door in the program, giving her full control once her ghosts had been transferred. Alt quickly uses her new abilities to eliminate all the Arasaka guards and transfer $20 million from Arasaka into a sub-account under her name. She hacks into the tower's security system and has Toshiro, the individual in charge of Arasaka research operations, at her mercy. Before she can transfer her ghost back, suddenly a loud explosion disturbs them. Johnny Silverhand and friends burst into the room. Toshiro throws himself for cover, toppling Alt's cyberdeck and breaking her audio connections. Johnny Silverhand, upon seeing Alt's lifeless body, executes Toshiro. He's unaware that Alt is still alive and that her ghost can be transferred back. Johnny Silverhand disconnects Alt's still warm body from the equipment and carries her away, while Alt's ghost screams out of the mainframe monitors. But no one can hear her. Despite the setback, Arasaka never gave up on developing the Soul Killer. Arasaka used the fragments of code salvaged from the first one to develop a functional Soul Killer too, but it still had several flaws. Contracted by Militech, Rache, Bartmoss and Alt Cunningham managed to find Arasaka's Soul Killer research facility, but Bartmoss accidentally leaked his position during the covert operation. Arasaka are able to capture Alt again and kill Rache. Arasaka force Alt to assist them, resulting in the weaponization of the software. Soul Killer 3. During Militech's special operations attack on the Arasaka Tower in Night City, Johnny Silverhand finds out Alt is still alive and trapped within the Arasaka data mainframe. Subsequently, he sacrifices himself to buy Spider-Murphy just enough time to download Alt back onto the net, although her fate remains unknown. In the non-canon timeline of Cyberpunk V3, she is mentioned only once as the leader of all the ghosts which were created by the Soul Killer program. Under Alt's leadership, the ghosts colonize the mainframes of cities abandoned during the war and start creating their own world. To some, this is viewed as a utopia, and individuals begin to leave their physical bodies behind to join Alt's dream of their own free will. During the alternate Cyber Generation timeline, 15 years pass after Alt's ghost was ripped out of her body to become an intangible existence within the net. With the $20 million she took from the Arasaka mainframe, she began planning her escape. With her original body safely deposited into cryogenic storage by her lover, Johnny Silverhand, Alt set up a small, highly secret research corporation through her now huge web of dummy investment accounts. Over 9 years, she directed her employees to study the most advanced techniques in cloning technology, with a goal to replicating her frozen body. She hired Morgan Blackhand to retrieve the necessary tissue samples. By 2019, Alt knew how to reverse the Soul Killer process with a new program that allowed her to download an engrammatic personality into a waiting clone. She called it Phoenix and instructed her employees to begin the process of transferring her to the clone. Unfortunately, something went wrong. Alta discovered to her dismay that Phoenix could not transfer her personality. It only wrote a copy of her neural net into the waiting brain, leaving her still trapped in the net. Alt released her clone Alt-2. Dejected by failure, Alt-1 abandoned her quest and began wandering the net. Subsequently, Alt-1 would enlist the help of Alt-2 when cloning Johnny Silverhand, after he was assassinated by the government. Omni Kismet, PhD, was not the most powerful Netrunner in Cyberpunk until you realize the secret he is hiding. Try rearranging the letters of his name. That's right, it's an anagram of Mike Pondsmith. Omni is described as having multiple PhDs in computer sciences and virtual simulation. Although he studied to become a writer of virtual reality entertainment, his talents have found a surprising audience. He started designing one virtual simulation for fun. Its features were so original, the decor so exceptional, and data flow so improved that it became an instant hit among the virtual art crowd. Since then, Kismet has been busy making newer and neater data forts. The secret seems to lie in his unconcealed desire to entertain and awe, as well as his apparently unquenchable thirst for storytelling. In 2020, he announced that he was taking a 6-month sabbatical to spend more time with his wife and child. Rumours abound that he's already researching a new virtual reality system at the behest of Biotechnica of Night City. Pixie, a child prodigy and product of a French corporate family. Pixie's parents wanted an executive position for her when she grew up and schooled her accordingly. However, Pixie found she enjoyed the net more and was soon drawn into the wilds of data space. After 2 years as a freelance netrunner, she wrote herself a demon compilation routine that could aid others in programming, and her fortune was made. The resulting income has made her a millionaire and brought her a permanent lover and bodyguard named Mahoney, widely regarded as a top female Euro solo. Always looking for the next high, Pixie enjoys everything she does, or she won't do it. She can be very fickle, but tries to not hurt her friends. No longer having to work, she still does illegal jobs, usually for the fun of it rather than for the financial reward. She prefers to sneak through data fortresses, leaving no trace of her run if possible, sending demon programs ahead to scout before she goes in. Tick. Having been born slightly deformed with a bent spine and twisted leg, he walks with a pronounced limp. This left him a loner, who overcompensated by trying to befriend everyone he met. Bit about the constant rejections, the young Tick turned to his computer for friendship and found he had a talent for understanding and building them. He enjoyed rebuilding and modifying computers and cyberdecks so much, he quickly became a well-known netrunner in his area. His only real space friend was an old male nurse from the nursing home who had gave him his first computer and taught him both how to draw and defend himself. In the net, Tick is a towering extrovert and has made up a completely fictitious life for himself, right down to parents and a boxing career. Working from the basement of his old home, Tick rarely left. The place is strewn with cannibalized electronic items, disassembled computers and half-built cyberdecks. Tick has a strange pattern of working for 48 hours straight, then collapsing for 24. He puts this down to the fact that he works when he is inspired for as long as possible, then sleeps afterwards. When resting, nothing short of physical violence will get his attention. Racked by inadequacy and loneliness, Tick tries to impress people with his eagerness and willingness. His need for friendship drives him to do anything to impress people, up to illegal actions. His occasional trip out of the basement is to the local Netrunners club, where he can impress his friends with his newest modifications, or to the home of his old nurse. He's looking for several well-paying jobs so that he can get his most secret desire, an operation to replace his deformed body parts. Razors was brought up in the American home of Japanese corporate managers. Razors learned the contradictory lifestyles of strict old Japanese morality and the images of modern US life. Confused and unloved, she turned to personal contact in an indirect way. The net was only a year old when Razor stepped onto the scene. Initially wary of the new world before her, she slowly made friends among the other Netrunners out there, realizing that she couldn't continue to live under her oppressive father and silent mother. She left home and coasted from one net friend's place to another, being taught all the tricks and skills needed to live in the net along the way. Having no job or qualifications led Razors into the criminal life, stealing net data to sell in real space. Attempting to avoid further mistakes in her life, she now tries to pick her jobs carefully, always expected to do well. A strong work ethic was drummed into Razors when she was young, which left her with a detached and dismal view of people and relationships. As she got older, Razors learned to relax. She can be cold and remote, but she's finally learned to socialize. Demoness, aka Shelley Simpson, grew up in the boom or bust atmosphere of the 80s. She went to the finest schools, attended the finest camps. Her family was one of the lucky ones that went through the tumultuous 90s with few setbacks. Shelley graduated from a New York college with a degree in cognitive science. Grad school was spent in Berkeley, studying with a young Janice Grubb. Shelley was soon snatched up by the fledgling Kenjiri Technologies, working in software design writing programs to be used on the new cyber modems. She worked alongside Janice Grubb in those days, and their friendship grew. Janice essentially reinvented the internet in Mike Pondsmith's Cyberpunk. Even after Janice left to work for Internet, they continued to correspond and occasionally meet. Suenta Kenjiri found out about this and made Shelley an offer. Tell us what Grubb is doing and keep your job, gaining influence and power. Do not and lose everything. Shelley despised it but complied, until Janice told her about what she was doing with the IG algorithms. To her regret, she didn't tell anyone. 3 weeks after the transformation, Shelley was out of a job, adding insult to injury. Kenjiri transmitted copies of her betrayals to Janice Grubb. Not only was she out of a job, she was unemployable within the industry, blacklisted by the internet. Shelley attempted to make a living for almost a year, then spent another 2 in the gutters addicted to Flash. She was nearly dead when a freakish meeting with her fixer got her a data theft job. Handshaking, she jacked herself in. Shelley nearly died and realised 2 things that night. First was that she was scared to death of black ice, and second, that she would also have the time of her life. 3 years later, Demoness is a netrunner who, while not rated as one of the best, is known to get the job done. She is considered to be methodical and inexorable. She is infamous for her use of semi-autonomous software, viruses and demons, plus she appears to be largely immune to black ice counterattacks. Ghost Rider, aka Grey Falcon, is a combat netrunner. He's also an Aikido master and accomplished swordsman. Grey is one of 3 siblings born to a southwestern nomad family. When his brother Ice and sister Jade went to fight in SA, Grey managed to enter Texas A&M, scoring a scholarship in their internet study program. At the time, Grey was becoming proficient in Aikido. To fulfill his physical education requirements, he entered an intensive training course, further honing his skills. After graduation, Grey found a dojo to complete his mastery of the form. He interned with several computer firms during this time, sharpening his net skills as well. Grey went back to the pack for a while, discovering that his relatives had not returned from the war. No death notices had been sent, and an inquiry to the army revealed that Ice and Jade had both survived, but nobody knew where they had gone after discharge. Grey went in search of his 2 siblings, first scouring the net for any info he could turn up, then roaming the country once the paper trail faded. All 3 ran into each other in Bangkok. Grey is described as cocky, cool and aggressive. He loves the net as much as he loves his fighting form and is dedicated to both. Unlike most Edgerunners, Grey is concerned with health and fitness. He does not do drugs, drink alcohol, and will spend his eddies on real food. He's constantly exercising where possible. Grey's main concern is maintaining that famous edge. Spider Murphy is considered by some to be one of the best. She was part of Militech Team Omega alongside Johnny Silverhand, Rogue Thompson and Shaitan, who helped Morgan Blackhand take down the Arasaka Tower at the end of the Fourth Corporate War. She also has the distinction of tracking down Kei Arasaka after the tower was destroyed. Kei Arasaka attempted to escape from Night City in a Sea Viper, only to find all his bodyguards unconscious and a young, beautiful woman sitting seiza, dressed in a kimono, waiting to speak with him. Spider informs Kei that he must use the Soul Killer on himself, stating that it is the only honourable thing for him to do. Spider tells Kei, think of it as seppuku. After all, you are a samurai, are you not? After Kei uses the Soul Killer on himself, Spider finishes the Fourth Corporate War narrative with the words, "Sleep well, Johnny, Morgan and Rache." Spider Murphy is very intelligent and quick-witted. Not much is known about Spider in the canon timeline, but in the alternative Cyber Generation timeline it was revealed she has nurtured and developed an artificial personality known as Robin Phillips for use in case she ever did get caught. This personality is bolstered by seeds of information she has sown in the net over the years. So to all appearances, Robin Phillips really exists. Spider is lightweight and bookish looking, very much a Netrunner instead of a physical person. Nevertheless, her voice synthesizer, motion detector and paint editor makes her an effective part of an escape team. Spider's most telling feature is her long red hair, which she habitually wears as a single thick braid. It is rumoured that her real name is actually Arabella, but she has never used that name since she ran away from home at age 14. No one exactly knows where Magnificent Curtis came from. He just showed up one day and created a branch of Netwatch. He seems to have erased the records of his own origins to protect himself, his kith and his kin. When he started, he used the handle Rocky, but the tag Magnificent Curtis was given to him by the runners down in Australia. He earned his name through his attitude and approach towards Netwatch runners. He wanted them to be perfect and to give them a goal to strive for. He tried to be perfect himself. He is fair, even-handed, slow to lose his temper, but quick to respond, even with lethal power if attacked. He has a strict regard for the laws of the land and an encyclopedic knowledge of the territorial laws of the Pacifica region. Magnificent Curtis himself is a man with vision and drive. In fact, he is a lot like the yin to Rache Bartmoss' yang. He is calm, quiet and law-abiding, but he shares the same zeal, enthusiasm and dedication to his work as Rache. This of course means that if the two of them ever got together, they would be at each other's throats within a minute. Rache Bartmoss, also known as the Ghost Lord, is egocentric, paranoid, reclusive and brilliant. Rache Bartmoss is often regarded as a genuine legend and a super wizard class hacker. Bartmoss believes the net is the real world. He does not accept borders, discrimination, travel restrictions, secrets, rules, or anything inhibiting free and total communication. He will also remind you of this ad nauseum. Rache Bartmoss is a fugitive who has broken into the toughest systems on Earth and committed multiple acts of corporate espionage with relative ease. His programming skills rivals even Alt Cunningham's, who is recognized to be the best. Rache Bartmoss has taken on Netwatch and never lost, explored the farthest regions of cyberspace, and claims to be aware of the existence of aliens. Unlike other Netrunners who use a pseudonym, such as Spider Murphy, Rache Bartmoss uses his real name to give his corporate enemies and Netwatch the proverbial middle finger. They know exactly who Rache Bartmoss is, but can never stop him. In the early stages of his career, Bartmoss worked legitimately with some software companies under the proviso he would not hack their systems, which usually lasted less than a couple of weeks. Once Bartmoss worked for CCI Development. With his assistance, the company started developing many innovative software products. Unfortunately, Bartmoss dropped a few surprises into the database code, including several scandalous sex tapes. While the company fired him, Bartmoss used a kill switch on all their systems as a departing gift. Bartmoss's last escapade was only 2 semantic degrees short of fatal. Nailed by a particularly nasty type of black ice that placed his heart into continual fibrillation, he barely managed to activate his cryogenic celestial parachute backup system in time. The result froze his body, but left his hyperactive mind still aware and jacked into the net. Bartmoss was too paranoid to tell anyone to retrieve his body should he be killed, so he ends up as a frost-covered chunk of frozen meat deteriorating in a cryogenic freezer, disguised to look like a refrigerator, while still managing to be the best hacker in the world. During the Fourth Corporate War, Militech asked Bartmoss for his help against Arasaka. He was adamant against working for a corporation, no matter how tenuous the connection, but Alt Cunningham convinces him to join her in hunting for the Soulkiller 2.5 program. While they find Soulkiller, Arasaka agents finally track down where Bartmoss resides. Defending him is none other than one of the most powerful entities in Mike Pondsmith's cyberpunk universe, the legendary Deathwish. That is, Deathwish the Cyber Kitty. Solid black, outfitted with titanium rippers in its mouth and paws, Deathwish protects the refrigerator that the frozen body of Bartmoss rests in. Bartmoss upgraded the Cyber Kitty's programming to produce a deadly mixture of feline instinct and Jackie Chan martial arts techniques. Following a truly titanic battle, and certainly too violent for YouTube's content guidelines, Deathwish is somehow defeated. As the frozen body of Bartmoss is riddled with bullets, the building's self-destruct mechanism is triggered, giving everyone just 30 seconds to escape. To ensure Bartmoss does not pull a Schwarzenegger, Arasaka used an orbital artillery satellite to launch a projectile from space directly on the building to finish the job once and for all. Suffice to say, Bartmoss had a contingency plan in place for his death. He had set up a backdoor data crash virus hiding within a hentai anime porn file that he sent to Manny Horror, the person who had set up the Horror Grub algorithm, which determines how the net functions. This allowed the virus to infiltrate all the IG protocols that ran the net. The death of Bartmoss triggered a dead man switch that activated billions of data crash viral links, randomly rewriting and erasing all information. Without any records or organization, the information age simply collapsed. In addition, upon his death, killer rabbits, roving autonomous Bartmoss interface drones, appeared and started killing most people attempting to use the net. Each rabbit had been painstakingly programmed to be as much like Rache as is inhumanely possible. They look just like him, they talk just like him, they think just like him, with the provision that they have no experience with the real world, at least not as a member thereof. So when asked advice about something beyond the reach of virtuality, they tend to abandon all pretense of omniscience and give an enthusiastic "I haven't got a clue" meat brain. Aside from that little restriction, the personality of a rabbit is very much indeed like that of the esteemed Ghost Lord. Short-tempered, long-suffering, self-congratulatory, prone to tangents and hallucinations, bored, verbose, generally savage, and primal. Hey Chumba, I'm Kazuliski, and I hope you found this Cyberpunk 2077 lore discussion on Netrunners to be informative. Are you interested in more Cyberpunk 2077 content? Then be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or feedback, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you for chipping in.